Welcome back to my Flosstube. This is Amy with Amy J's Creations. This is Flosstube number 13. It is September 24th, 2021. I flipped the camera back around so I can't see what I'm showing you, but hopefully that makes the writing the correct direction. So if stuff is like out of camera or something, I'm sorry. It's either one or the other. Yes. Okay. So Lucky 13. I have lots of fun stuff to show you. Actually, I'm very happy with that. And I think we will get right into it. I have 6 fully finished objects to show you. I was a busy girl. So first thing I want to show you is the little thankful chart. This was a freebie chart from Priscilla and Chelsea, Real Housewives of Stitch, cross stitch. I finished this as just a simple flat fold. The back isn't even done because it's just going to rest in my tiered tray. But where my tiered tray is on the little table, it's in a corner, so it's not like I can put stuff on it at 360, but people can't see it. I may put a little piece of felt on the back here, but I may not. This was, I just wrapped it on some foam core board, and then this is matte board that I have. Believe this is actually sticky foam core board that I bought at Hobby Lobby. I bought a giant piece and I had them cut it in half, and I shoved it into the bottom of my biggest suitcase to get it over here. I added some more old lace that I have. Both these pieces are from that big bin of lace that I got from my friend who had it from her mother and her grandmother. Little tiny piece of green ribbon. I have a bin full of like ribbon scraps off of birthday presents, off of fancy packages like from chocolate stores and stuff. And because you never know. And so this was in there. It was a great green to go with this. So that is my first finish. I'm really happy with it. I wanted a little bit of blue to bring out the blue in the pumpkin. These are mostly called for colors, but I did substitute. This is a DMC orange, and this is actually, no, this is the blue that was called for, but mine ended up looking slightly different than the one they had for some reason. But really like this. So that was finish number 1. Then I made 2 pillows. So this is the first one, and this is the second. I will display them together in my tier tray at Thanksgiving time. This was rickrack I had in my stash from Joanne, or probably something. These are, I did change, I cross-stitched just before I was doing Flosstube. And I did change some of the colors. I will put it down in the Dropbox what the colors were that I used, if I can remember. Because, I checked my charts. But I know that I added more of the blue because there was supposed to be a lot of green, I can talk, a lot of browns, and I wanted some more of the purple and blue, so I changed that. The background, the fabric I used for the back was originally actually white for both of these. And the background was white. And I stuck them in some tea, soaked them in tea for a little bit. And to give them a more, brownish look, because I felt like that went better with the patterns. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I use Vanna Pfeiffer's pillow tutorials. I stuffed it with regular old fiberfill because that's what I had. This is a little bit bigger of a pillow than I normally like, but it'll be fine. Right here, you'll notice that this is not quite in. I tried laying down the rickrack with basting glue and then sewing around it, but my basting glue didn't hold it down. It's supposed to be used for like when you want to applique stuff, but for some reason it didn't quite hold it straight. So there's a couple spots there where it's not totally sewed in, but it's just gonna sit there. It's fine. It's not being entered into anything. And here's my Lord of Gourds. And I, of course, had to pick this fabric because there's a turkey on the back. So we have to keep in the theme with the birds, you know. And Thanksgiving, how much more appropriate can you get? So that's my second pillow. So cute. And I debated dunking. I had some bright orange, well, not bright orange, but an orange rickrack, and I debated putting that in the tea as well. But I went ahead and went with the brown because I didn't want it to look too Halloween-y, and there was already a big chunk of orange there on the front. So I just left it like that. These patterns are part of the Autumn Royalty. They come 3 in the set, and they're by Lindy Stitches, Stephanie Webb of Lindy Stitches. Really cute. The third one of these, however, I did not do as a Thanksgiving one. I finished it as a Halloween one because the count of candy seemed more Halloween-y to me. And I sewed this fabric in my haul last video, and I Mod Podged it onto, I'm going to show you the back, okay? This is an old frame that I got at like Michael's. Actually, I think it was Provo Craft, because it used to have like an actual brick and mortar store that you could go into, and it was supposed to be like painted, and then you put like a tiny photo in here. But I Mod Podged this whole thing with that fabric. I loved how the colors went. This is Baker's Twine, and I used Vanna Pfeiffer's cording tutorial to make I wanted extra thick cording around this. And then these are part of that pick that I found. I believe it was Hobby Lobby, might have been Michael's, on my trip in America, and glued that on. I didn't want to add too much more. I had like another bit of the strand, but it was going to cover up too much of the pattern, and I wanted to highlight and enhance my cross stitch, not overwhelm it and cover it up. So we just went with I consulted my daughter, and we went with just a couple of candy corns because there's candy corns in the pattern. Super, super cute. And the reason I like this, excuse me, I'm going to reach here. The reason I like this frame is it comes with this little hole here in the back, so I can just slide this in. This hole in the back, it comes with this, and so then I can just set it up and it sits by itself anywhere. So I don't have to use up wall space because I have almost no wall space. To coordinate with that finish, I finished this. Ooh, and there is, there's some, I'll need to get some of the hot glue off of there. This finish you have never seen before. I did this last year. This is a freebie pattern from Durene Jones. If you follow her Facebook page, almost every Friday she does a freebie. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. They're amazing. She just did a biscornu today, that a hedgehog one that I think I'm going to make. This was last year for Halloween, and each character was one Friday in October leading up to Halloween. It was just so cute and so lovely. I did change some of the colors to have, because she had more browns and I wanted more greens and oranges to be even more Halloween-y. But, oh, there's a string. Here we go. but I really, really love this pattern, and I'm so happy. This frame is one of the ones that I showed you in my haul last week. I sanded, there were some flowers painted on here, white flowers and pink flowers, and some writing. I sanded that a little bit to get rid of some of it. Then I spray painted it, and I'm glad I sanded it first because it took like 4 coats of spray paint to fully cover up those flowers, and I can't imagine how much more it would have taken had I just sprayed it straight. This was again part of that pick that I got. I tore it apart. The candy corns are also from that pick, and then I just added a little bow there to cover up where everything got glued together. But super cute, and this has a little hanger on it, so I can hang that up, and it coordinates because it's the same fabric that is on this one. I'm really, really happy with this finish, and I can't wait to put it up. It's almost Halloween. Okay, then my final finish that I have is my, oops, there's some more of that hot glue, is my Jane Eyre sampler. Now, what I did with this frame was actually a clock. And it's like it's partially wood, partially plastic. And I took it, and the clock had like this really weird kind of gaudy picture on the inside. But I liked the frame. The frame was all gold. And so what I did to tone it down a little bit is I first put in some antiquing gel, but that, even after I let it dry overnight, did not adhere to the frame very well. So then I mixed, I have some, they call it paper mache powder. It's basically plaster of Paris. I mixed in with some acrylic paint and painted this, but then rubbed it away so that there was gold and the brown. I didn't rub it off of everywhere, but on most places. I wanted the softer tones. I did end up, thank you for all the suggestions, I did end up brewing some tea and applying it with Q-tips. That worked fantastic because I could control it. Better even than with a tea bag. I experimented on the bottom part of this fabric that was left over, and I'll show that in a minute, with tea bags, and it got a really cool look, but it spread much more than I wanted it to. So with the Q-tip, thank you again for that tip. It worked really well, and I could just put it in spots, and then if I wanted more, I could put a little bit more on. This is V&Co fabric, and it was funny. I had a whole bunch of different colors, but I was just drawn to that purple. I really liked it. And so, yeah, that's what I went with. This is just matte board. This is mounted on sticky board and sticky foam core board. And there is my finish. I don't have any place to hang this right now. It's going, my daughter asked me, she's like, where is that going? And I said, well, when I get my craft room back, I will put it in there. But for now, it's probably just going to be in my little craft area here in my bedroom, in this little corner where I'm sitting, because it makes me happy. So I'm really happy with that. All right, so this is what I wanted to show you. This is the bottom piece of the fabric that was left over from that Jane Eyre piece. So what I did is first I put peppermint tea bags on there, and it really brought out a green tint, the greenish hue that was in this fabric. But it wasn't quite what I was looking for. So then I put on regular tea bags, the ones that I had used to brew the tea to do this. I just put the tea bag straight on here and let that sit. And then and I kind of like in different spots, so it was kind of blending. And then one of them broke open as I was going to pick it up to remove it, and all the little grounds fell onto the fabric. And at first I panicked, and then I was like, wait, no, I think I like this. So I kind of rubbed it all over and then rinsed them off, and it ended up with this. And on the back, it also has some modeling. So if whatever I decide to stitch on here, if this is too much, I can do it on this. But I really had fun with that. And I'm really excited to use some of my colors and dye fabric. Yeah. Okay. So now I showed you last week, or last time I filmed, it was almost 2 weeks ago, which I was going to do. I wanted to stitch this pattern and this pattern. I hope you can see that, out of the Just Cross Stitch Halloween edition. And I did those, and I will show you that here. I started and finished them. This is the first one, Broom Parking. I did change some of the colors because I wanted more purple in there. And I used a variegated orange that I had, not the DMC one. This is like, I think it's JP and Coats, like a really, really old one. But I like that a lot. And the brooms, yeah, I changed the green. It was supposed to be a lighter green, but I had this one and I used it. It was the same green that's in this. And so I used it so they would kind of go together. So I finished that one. And then I was able to finish the Oops. It's actually called Broom, what is it? Yes, I Can Drive a Stick, or Trouble Driving a Stick. Yeah, so I did that one. Again, I changed. This is supposed to be orange stripes in her socks, and I changed it to purple because I wanted it to coordinate with the other one that also had some purple in it. And I used that same variegated orange in the Oops rather than a solid orange. Really fun. I'm going to finish these into ornaments that will hang on my little ornament tees that I have. It's like a metal tee from IKEA. I have 2 of them. Then I had so much fun and I still had fabric left. So I started 2 more patterns, because something you need to know about me is I have a deep and abiding love for symmetry and things matching. When I was younger, my mom used to laugh because when I would set the table, it was like, you know, at one point we had like 2 different kinds of silverware because she was transitioning, I think, to a new one. And when it was my turn to set the table, I could not handle if things didn't match. And so I would like coordinate it. At least it was like the same amount of this kind of silverware and then the same amount of this. And I would do it every other one around the table. I couldn't enjoy the meal unless it looked like that. So I have 2 of the trees, so I need to have 2 of these ornaments on each side to go with the smaller octagonal or hexagon or something shaped ornaments that I made last year that I will show when I get all my Halloween decorations up. So I picked 2 new ornaments. There's this one, which again, I hope you can see. And this one that I'm going to be making. I have not started this one, but I did get a start on this other one. I made several changes. This bottom part down here was supposed to be all browns, but I changed it to grays. And, a bluish gray and a darker gray. The house, I added a few more bricks. You know, see how there's like darker bricks in there? I added a couple more. And then in this pattern, there's supposed to be like the little ghosts and the moon. I really hope that you can see this. Are supposed to be done in glow-in-the-dark floss, which is really, really cool. But I don't have access to that, and I didn't get any while I was in the States. I might not have seen it, or I might have thought there was no point. So I'll just do those in a white. But I'm having a lot of fun with those. Yeah, I hope I will finish those in the next couple of weeks, and then finish them in ornaments so I can put them up when I put up all my my Halloween decorations. Other thing, and now, the other thing I was doing instead of stitching or finishing, although I did do a lot of finishing, was I have been wrapping all that floss. Now, I know I was going to wait and wrap it as I needed the numbers, but it was this big pile of floss that was just sitting in my room, and it was bugging me. So I went through and I filled all 3 of my new containers with wrapped floss. Some of these I had 1 bin that was already, 2 bins that were full already. And I took those out and added 3 more. And then in this one, there are the DMC variegated flosses and some other JP and Coates floss, some Star floss, and some no-name brand, it's Prism from my friend, that some of it is variegated and some of it is solid colors that I'm putting in here. And then these are some of the DMC étoiles that are over here as well. So that, I have almost everything wrapped now. It was a huge undertaking, but now I feel like it's done. And the excess fabric is floss is divided by number into Ziploc baggies. And as these get used up, then I will put more on there. But it was, at least now they were contained. Before, they didn't even all fit in the baggies because there was just too much. Oh, that was fun to buy. So now that project is complete, I did that a lot while we were watching TV at night or on Sundays afternoons instead of stitching. So I guess these are my plans. I hope to then get back to my Sunday stitch of His Name is Jesus and finish up those Halloween ornaments. And then I'll probably, if those get done, I need to start back on the Christmas tree for my mom so I can get that finished. I'm thinking I'm going to turn that Christmas tree. I want to start the 25/7 that a lot of people are talking about, where 7 days a week you stitch for 25 minutes on the same project, and then you can move on to other things. Because I usually have a good couple of hours a day to cross stitch, and so if I put 25 minutes of that time each day on the Christmas tree, I should get it done very, very quickly because there's really not much left. But I just was working on that so exclusively that I wanted to do some other things. Now I've had a nice little break. Now I can go back to that. I also have a little bit of haul. So I have my Jane Eyre sampler. I have my Sense and Sensibility prayer, also from Whitney Stitches. And I decided in my craft room, I wanted more cross stitch inspired by my favorite books from when I was a kid. And, favorite books, period. So I looked and I saw somebody on their Flosstube had done an Anne of Green Gables. And I'm now wishing I can remember who it was. I can't remember. Was it Cottage House Stitchery? I can't remember. I'm sorry. Anyhow, and I went and looked. Yeah, it was her. And I went and looked up the one she had mentioned in her Flosstube, and it was cute, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. So I went on Etsy and just typed Anne of Green Gables cross stitch, and several came up, and I kind of went through them. And this one I found was by Bonnie Brown, the Bonnie Stitches shop on Etsy, and I purchased it, and it's really cute. It's got, I'm going to just flash it really fast because I only have the pattern. There was no cover photo. So it's the house with Anne standing in front of the little door. And the quote of it is, "It's not what the world holds for you, it's what you bring to it." And I love that sentiment. And it's, one of the famous things that is said in the book. And I love the whole series, so I'll be stitching that. Then I was like, ooh, what other books? Now I want like a, some people have like these beautiful sampler walls, and I'm going to have my favorite book, cross stitch walls. So the next one I found was by Barbara Tingley, and this is from Little House on the Prairie, because that's another series of books that I absolutely love. And then I had the fun of reading them aloud to my kids. Before bed, we would read a chapter a night. We got through, all the way through Little Farmer Boy, and they just loved those books. So I'm going to flash this again really fast. It's the cabin. It's a picture of Laura, and it says, "Home is the nicest word there is," which is also a quote from one of the books. So I got that one. And then I typed in Harry Potter. Harry Potter, that series of books, is one of the best stories. I'm not going to say it was super well written, but the story is amazing. The world that she created just... So I typed it, and there was a whole bunch, and I was kind of going back and forth. There was this really nice, inspiring one about Dumbledore's quote of, no matter how dark it is, you only have to, I can't remember, something about looking for the light. Light can always be found by those who choose to seek it, or something like that. But then I narrowed it down to 2, and I showed it to my husband, and he's like, this one is more you. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And it's the "I solemnly swear I am up to no good." I'm always telling people I have a black soul. Like the other day, we were talking about somebody who had done something, and I said, well, I can't remember what I said, but it was just my natural instinct of like, well, sucks for them, kind of. And my family, we were in the car, and they were like, and I said, why are you people surprised? I told you. I'm always telling you, I have a dark black soul. I fight constantly, daily, to keep it reined in and to be nice, but it does not come naturally to me. So this I love, because most of the time, in my head at least, I am up to no good. This pattern is by Piccola Parigi Designs, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I will also put that in the box down below. It's gonna be really awesome. So I'm super excited for that one. And what else did I want to tell you? Oh, okay. I already told you my plans because I jumped ahead because I'm too excited. So, what I realized that I have not been doing is sharing with you a little bit about Switzerland, life in Switzerland. I started doing that, and then I kind of stopped. I also would do a crafter's confession, but to be honest, I kind of ran out of things to confess, things that I was willing to confess. But I do want to include tidbits of life in Switzerland. And so in honor of that, it was this month, going back to school, something that is different here in Switzerland to my life in the States. I don't know about other countries because I don't live in those countries. And this isn't how it used to be in the States, But nowadays, I understand that most everybody, I keep hearing people talk about, I have a travel project for when I sit in the car and have to go pick up my kid at school. And sometimes they're waiting for like up to half an hour, which boggles my mind. I grew up, okay, I am 51, but I grew up and walked back and forth to school all the time. But slowly, it's kind of morphed into this thing where your child is not allowed to walk home in a lot of places, and you have to drive to pick them up. And my friend who lived in Switzerland moved back to Jersey and for a year, and then was like, I can't raise my kids in America anymore. I forgot how she put it, is I don't know how to be a mom in America anymore. So they moved back to Switzerland, which we were happy about because we love them. But anyway, that made me think of this. Here in Switzerland, children walk to school starting in kindergarten. And for the first week, maybe, the teacher will kind of turn a blind eye if you're still walking your kid to school. But after that, you get a stern talking to that the child needs to walk by themselves to school. It's an important part of their development. It's how they how friendships grow, is they walk with other kids and talk about things, and they really see it as the whole development of the child. It's not just school, but it's the back and forth to school is just as important. And here in our little village, they do have a school bus because our village is kind of divided up into 3 sections. So there's the main village, and then a little while, like 2 kilometers away, there's my little top of the hill where we live. And then down the hill, there's another little section of houses. And so for the places, for my little section and down the hill, in the valley there, they have a school bus that will pick up the kindergartners and maybe first graders. But it might just be kindergartners. And the other kids who live in those outlying areas ride the public bus. But everybody else, the little kindergartners who live in town, they walk to kindergarten. And they even have it built into the system that for kids who get sidetracked along the way because they see a cool dog, or they run into their friend and they just start chatting and playing a game of tag on the way to school. So they're not considered late until they have like an extra 45 minutes built in to the timetable. And if the child hasn't arrived in kindergarten after that time, then the teacher will call the parent if they haven't already called in and said, my kid's sick or whatever, and not being able to come in. But they just give them that time in that room to slowly walk to school, and they don't get in trouble if they come a little bit later. But then by the time they're in first grade, they're used to walking to school, and they're used to, needing to be there at a certain time. And it's one of the main things they do is walk to school. And like I said, if you continue to walk your child to school, you get in trouble. And because that's what they want to do. People who live in downtown Zurich, those kids are also encouraged to walk. Sometimes what they will do is they call it a foot bus. And it's one parent will go and with a gaggle of 8 or 10 kids, and they kind of walk along, and each kid stands out in front of their apartment building and gets, joins the group as they get closer and closer to school. But even that doesn't continue for the whole school year. It's just for the first little bit until the kids are used to going by themselves. And then they still continue that group, just not always with an adult. And it teaches the kids responsibility and how to be self-sufficient, and it totally works. And I guess that also works because it's a really rare thing to have a missing child in Switzerland, like a kidnapped kid. Really rare. It happens. I'm not going to say it never does, but it's really rare. and it rarely happens on the way to school. It's usually some other time. So that's what they do. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention what I have been doing with Flosstube. So I was a month behind, and I was trying to watch them, and I kept having to scroll like 10 flips up my phone, and no matter how many I watched, it was always 10 flips down. Finally, I clued in to watch it at 1.5 speed. Amazing. So I've been doing that and slowly catching up. Now I only have to flip 7 times. Because the thing is, people keep pumping out with no more floss tubes. But also I noticed that there were some in my haste to try to catch up. There were some that I was skipping. They were too long or too commercial. So like, and then I finally said, if I'm fine with skipping these all the time, I'm going to unsubscribe. And so they were like bigger floss tubes, and also ones attached to stores. So like Fat Quarter Shop. I love Kimberly Jolly. I'm a happy customer of theirs, but she doesn't need my subscription thing. And so I opted out of that one until I catch up, and then maybe I will. But what I have been doing is then I joined the Flosstube group on Facebook, and people there promote their floss tubes. And it's for people who make floss tubes, and they can then put on, hey, I put out a new floss tube to that group, so then everybody knows to go and watch it. And I recently subscribed to like 3 or 4 new channels, all under 1,000 subscribers. That's kind of my area of focus now, is people who have less subscribers. There's a few big names still, like Priscilla and Chelsea and Just Keep Stitching and Java Girl Stitches, that I still really like to watch. But I have been having a lot of fun watching these smaller stitchers. They stitch amazing products, and it just feels like more friends, kind of. And that's why I do this, is because I want more friends. Oh, and really fun. So through Just Keep Stitching, their Stitch Harmony, somebody from Eastern Switzerland requested, and me and another girl both answered her request for a friend. Interestingly enough, she hasn't gotten back to me at all, but me and this other girl are meeting up. We were going to meet next week, and then we both had something come up. But we're going to meet in 2 weeks, and to have, get together for brunch and a chat, and maybe go shopping in Germany across the border, because they have some great craft stores that are less expensive. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I think I will have just visited her by the next time it's time to film the next floss tube, so I will report back on that. So I'm very excited about that. I will try to, if I can figure out how, I will try to link some of those floss tubers that the Under 1,000 Club down below, that I've been really enjoying watching their stuff. Yeah, I guess that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what I had to show you, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you again in 2 weeks. Tschüss!